You may know my next guest as a singer and songwriter, but allow me to introduce you to her as an author as well. Adie Camp, author of As For Me, a 7-week Bible study. Welcome, Adie, to the Sami Cone Show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you.
I'm so excited you're here. You know, I kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, you have been on the road literally as a singer for a lot of your life, also with your husband, Jeremy Camp, and your beautiful children. And now this Bible study. Where did this birth from for you? Because writing a book is hard to begin with. I can only imagine the weight that comes with writing a Bible study. Can you take me through that journey?
Yes, I am a massive overachiever. I often regret
You and me both, girl.
I signed myself up for. But I've always loved writing, honestly. Just it's going to sound so cheesy, but in high school, English is one of my favorite subjects. So, and then, you know, being a songwriter and all of that stuff, it's always kind of been something that's been on my radar. But I was just in the book of Psalms for a couple of years, and I had this opportunity to sit down with some women from Lifeway, and they just the idea. They just said, you know, you're a musician primarily, and we just think that your voice on the book of Psalms would be really unique coming from a musician standpoint. And would you even be interested? And what was so crazy is they didn't know that I had already been studying the book of Psalms. So it literally just felt like one of those moments that God just kind of gave this massive direction. I had no idea what I was signing myself up for. I probably quit a million times. But I will say, it really was something that I needed. I found the book of Psalms to be incredibly rich, so life-giving. I mean, so much so that I almost crave what I experienced while I was going through it. Just the variety of landscape emotionally that the book of Psalms covers gives us permission to feel and invite Jesus into. Has been incredible.
Yeah, and that shows, because this study is very intuitive. I feel like if we weren't friends already, I would want to be your friend after going through this, because you've thought of all the things, just, I mean, to be really like go to the granular, like that I want in a study. You've got room for notes during the video. You've got room for notes while you're in the session. You've got the beautiful charts and everything at the back that have, you know, how often, you know, the different genres of the Psalms and things are mentioned. So why was that important to you to include all those little details throughout this study?
Well, I think it helps us to learn. I think it gives us an overall picture of what's really going on. And so you need the context, you need some of the history, the behind the scenes of what's going on for us to really understand even the freedom that the psalmists had to cry out to the Lord, like what was going on in their times, what's their relationship with the people around them. And I know for me, I enjoy asking those questions. I need some of those dots connected for greater understanding. And I will say the team that I worked with at Lifeway was absolutely incredible. I loved my editor, and I feel like all of it was just really trying to get the whole heart behind the Psalms presented in a book.
Do you think that writing it at this stage of your life, because as I said, you have been a touring musician, your husband is a touring musician, your daughters are now performing and singing together. I have to imagine that all of that, you know, shapes what went into this now. Would you agree with that, or am I being presumptuous?
No, not at all. Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, when I was writing this book, I was imagining my daughters and thinking about the girls their age, and then also thinking about the other bookend of somebody who's known God for a very long time, and really trying to just connect some of those in the middle of like learning to bring Jesus into all of the things that we go through. You know, there's so many lament psalms just in the book of Psalms itself, and so even just kind of like journeying through all these sort of hard places. And I don't know, I think sometimes you just have to have a few years under your belt. I mean, I'm not that old, but I do feel like we've experienced a lot of life.
I agree. And we just have a minute left, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask, because as you said, our oldest two are the same ages, and, you know, those late teenage, young adult, almost 20, you know, year olds. How would you advise them, because of everything that they're being pummeled with from the world, you know, these days? You talk about the lament in the Psalms. How do you make it practical for your kids when they're going through that, you know, in present day?
I think that's key. I love something that I can take away and add to my life today. I don't love all these things that are kind of like outward, but they don't really mean anything to me on a personal basis. And one of the things that I've learned is no matter what you're going through, we get to take Jesus with us. And so that is practical. I think it doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't always have to be in Bible study. It can be in prayer, it can be in journaling, it can be in a variety of different ways, is that we get to be with Jesus through the ups and downs of our life.
I love it. Adie, thank you for joining us. You can pick up As For Me, Life Through the Lens of the Psalms, where books are sold. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a blessing to talk to you.
Thank you, Sami.
Thank you.
You too.